We feel God has spoken to us quite clearly, actually, as an eldership about something that He wants us to speak into. We are looking at the whole kind of theology around diversity. And it's, I know it's a hot topic at the moment, but that is not the reason we're doing it. We're doing it because God has spoken to us, and so we are looking at God's great, big, beautiful plan. And we're seeing that actually God has got way more to say into this than I think we recognise ourselves certainly, but society at large understands. And what we're going to do as well is we've got this ambitious, we're going to do a grand sweep of the entire Bible. We're going to start in Genesis and then we're going to end in Revelation. So if you could read the Bible before Easter, that would be great. But we're going to be looking right the way through. Obviously, we will not be covering everything, but we will be sort of stopping along the way to look at this. And why are we doing this? Well, as I say, it's not just because of kind of this is like a political hot potato at the moment. It's not that. I recognise that some of the conversations that I personally have had over the last couple of years, I know some of the things that people have experienced personally in the church have been very different. But this is not because of like George Floyd or Black Lives Matter. This is not because this seems to be kind of the way that everything's going. This is because this has been the eternal plan of God. And we want to sort of speak into it in a way that raises faith so that it's not just kind of a protest thing that we're doing, but actually God put something in us so that we know why and how we're doing it as a church. So we're going to be sort of working out and follow the theology of that in the church. And straight away, I've got to say, I'll apologise now, right at the beginning, because I am going to say stuff that I will not mean and get wrong in my head, and it will come out wrong. But what I am hoping will come across is the heart of us as elders, and for us as a church, our desire that you'll see beyond some of our clumsy vocabulary to see actually there's a heart in it that is God honouring. So I'm going to start with a story about a taxi driver, and apparently this is a true story. And this taxi driver picked up a fare somewhere in central London, let's say, I don't know, let's say Spitalfields. He picked up this fare at Spitalfields, and this guy got in the cab, and he was wanting to go to see The Mousetrap. Have you heard of The Mousetrap? The Mousetrap is the longest running West End whodunit, Agatha Christie thing. I'm not saying it myself, right? But that's what it is. And this guy got in, and he was grumpy and horrible to start with. He was rude to the driver, and he was sort of, every time the driver took some route, he says, well, why didn't he go that route? And every time he turned off, he tutted. He was horrible. He got outside the Mousetrap thing. This is not a joke, this is a true story. Right? And he got outside the Mousetrap, and the geezer got out, slammed the door, no tip whatsoever. So the taxi driver wound down his window, and he goes, by the way, mate, you see the Mousetrap? He goes, yeah. Who done it? He says, yeah. He goes, the butler done it. Like, I don't even know if there is a butler in it or what, but the point was, he spoilt the ending. He spoilt the ending. But what I want to do now is a spoiler alert. Okay, this is where we are heading as a church. This is where we, as the people of God, are heading. If you have a Bible with you, if you want to turn to Revelation 7, I'm going to start at the very end. It says this. Revelation 7:9 says, after this I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. They were wearing white robes and were holding palm branches in their hands, and they cried out in a loud voice, salvation belongs to our God who sits on the throne and to the Lamb. So here is where we are heading. This is what the end of history is going to look like. Around the throne, every tribe and tongue and language represented there. But if you go back to the beginning, then we believe that Adam was the first man. That means that from Adam's DNA was the potential for every tribe and tongue and race under the sun. So within his DNA, there was black, white, Chinese, Asian, Aborigine, Eskimo, gingers, whatever. They were all there in his DNA. If you look on your iPhone now, most of them have got like thumbprints or fingerprints and stuff like that. You look at your thumbprint, all right, and that is absolutely unique. Out of 7 billion people or whatever on the planet, your thumbprint is yours, no one else's. And it means that there's something within all of these humanity that is absolutely unique. And do you know what I found out? I was trying to find out some interesting facts about fingerprints. Did you know that koalas have fingerprints? Yeah. So for any of you criminals out there, if you take a koala with you, then when you're doing your crimes, you can blame it on the little fluffy marsupial. But it means basically that within Adam's loins was, from this original man, coming out of somewhere in North Africa, the whole of humanity came about. But let's go back to when man was made. In Genesis 1, at the beginning of the Bible, Genesis 1, verse 28, says this. 26. Says this. Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves along the ground." There is something distinctly glorious about humanity, about mankind. Okay, we've just prayed for little Sarah, this tiny human being, 3 days old. How cute is that? 3 days old. But what to society? And yet, if we was on a mountain and there was this really rare plant in a pot, right? 1 of 10 in the too tall, where does this arbitrary light? It doesn't matter. Humanity carries something about patient. Seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seeds in it, according to their various kinds. And it was so. Verse 21. So God created the great creatures of the sea and every living thing with which the water teems and that moves about in it according to their kinds. And every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. The reason you look around this room now, and we're all different shapes and sizes and colours and all sorts about us, is different social backgrounds, different histories. And it's because God made us different. He's done it deliberately, absolutely on purpose. And we love to sort of try and scurry and find people that are like us. But God, in the very beginning, wanted us. "I will also make you a light for the Gentiles, that my salvation may reach." I know it don't feel like it sometimes, but the truth is, we get to practice what this is going to be like around the throne when we're all speaking out in our own languages, from our own experiences, from our own backgrounds, speaking and singing out the glory of God.